Hi, and welcome to this video on getting started on your software as a medical device quality management system. This is an introduction video, really starting at the beginning for anybody who wants to build a QMS. It's very general, not for any particular device, but given we're focusing here on software as a medical device, this video is for anyone who wants to build an ISO 13485 certified quality management system for SAMD or software as a medical device. And then anyone who's interested in a complete compliance approach to ISO 13485. Again, we're starting really at the beginning here. So the expectation is that the knowledge of the ISO 13485 is quite low. And about this video, I'm going to show you how to do it. You don't need any prior knowledge, and I try to speak slowly, so if you want to speed it up, you can watch it 1.5 or 2 times speed on the video. Just a reminder, we do help entrepreneurs and businesses with their software as medical device projects. So we can do it with you if you like, or we can do it for you. And if you're interested, please contact us via the form on the website. So as a bit of a background, ISO 13485 is an international standard that sets out the requirements for a quality management system specific to the medical device industry. So you'll see there's a lot of international standards focused on different things. A very common one is 9001, which you may have seen, which is a general quality management system. This is the one you really need if you want to build a medical device. And if you committed to start your project, you can go to www.iso, that's iso.org, and purchase this standard. And the current version is actually the 2016 version. So they generally keep the old ones there you can purchase, but make sure you get the right version. And this is what you're aiming for to gain registration of your device in a market. So what I mean by that is FDA registration, CE marking, etc. Is you need generally you need a certificate, a ISO 13485 certificate, and this is what mine looks like for my company. And these are issued by what's called a notified body, which are regulated by the government. They can have the power to issue certificates on behalf of the government. And when you've got this, this is generally required when you're submitting your regulatory dossier. I say generally, it's the vast majority. There are, different regulatory paths, but it's good practice to have this certificate anyhow. So to achieve ISO 13485 certification, 4 steps. First, you need to build your QMS or your quality management system. You need to register with a notified body. So these are the ones who will issue certificate. Uh, you need to then book a time for an audit. You go through 2 audits on your QMS, and then if you pass all that, they will issue you your certificate. Now, if you think about doing this, you need to allow time and money. I would recommend to allow, up to 1 year to do it, especially if you're starting from scratch. It can be done a lot faster, and the rate limiting step will generally be registering with a notified body and booking audit times. So maybe that could be, at the lower end, maybe 3 months, and you can prepare for that. And if you want to do it yourself, you probably have to allow about a $10,000 euro, whatever your denomination is, budget, and you're doing that mainly for your audit fees from the notified body and your registration fees, notified body. Uh, if you want somebody to do it with you, like us, it's probably going to cost you around 20,000. So just some advice, and you can also purchase a lot of the forms for the quality management system, which you can use to fill in. And if you want somebody to do it for you, that could be, 100,000 or more, depends on what's required. So that just gives you a bit of an idea of what's ahead of you. So where we're starting in this video is really at the beginning, like at the very, very, very beginning. And you could move this to the very left-hand corner of Build Your QMS, just starting. So to take it back to very, very simple terms, and let me move my picture here out of the way. Um, what I recommend you do is to set up some folders on a network drive, Google Drive, or whatever you use, and create a structure based on the chapters of the ISO 13485. Now these here are the chapters of the 13485, Quality Management System, Management Responsibility, etc. And you'll notice the first three, these are more references. So these are not requirements to fulfill, but these are references. So when you go to set up your folders, this is the way I do it. And again, do it your own way, whatever you think best. There's no really one way to do it, as long as you meet the requirements. This is my approach. What I do, I set up a folder for standards, and this is the folder which we'll work in today. One for your product files. So these are basically the requirements, design development, technical file for your product. I don't have a need for the third slot at the moment. I just leave it blank. And then a chapter, a folder which relates to each of the chapters, and I shorten the terms quality management resource product, quality management resource product, and apologies, that should say improvement, not resource. So apologies about that. Now, what this means when you set it up this way is when you set up your document numbering system, it's very easy to work out by looking at a document what section of the ISO your documents relate to. That's the only reason kind of I do it, but again, you do it how you would like to do it. If you're starting, I would recommend following this approach. Next step is to save your ISO 13485 standard in the following directory. So you've got your standards folder, create another folder called ISO for all your ISO standards, and you'll have at least two, probably three or four of those when you're finished, and create a folder called ISO 13485 2016 and save your folder in there. Uh, what we do, excuse me, what I do for the standards folder, this is where I keep all the legislation, the international standards, etc., that your quality system is complying to. But again, yeah, we'll come on to that in another video. Next step is create your very first form of your quality management system, and do this in Excel or Google Sheets and create the following structure. So basically it's a table. You'll have a reference there, which is the reference for the QMS, the number, the page it's on, so you can easily find it in the 13485 or any other document you use, because you use this template for other documents. The text of the standard, which you can copy in there, and some people don't do this, but I recommend copying it in clause by clause. Takes a little bit of time, but it gives you very, very good control, and it's very useful as you build your quality management system. And also, if you're looking at this the first time, it gives you an opportunity just to read through your QMS as you build this, give you time to think about it, which is really important. And then, yeah, by the time you've copied all this and read it through, you should be ready to start implementing. We have a section here to determine if the section of the ISO is in scope or not. The majority of it is going to be in there, but there are certain sections which may not be applicable to you, and you can say they're not in scope and then give a comment on why it's not in scope. And then ultimately, is what we're looking for this compliance template, is to say a reference to your quality management system on how you've addressed that requirement. And so if we move to the next slide, here's an example from my QMS. Again, just starting at the beginning, it's very simple. You can see that I've color coded it. So we're in section 4, the quality management system, section 4.1, general requirements, and then down to clause 4.1.1 on page 6. And you can see that I've copied in the paragraph here, and it is in scope. I've left the comment on scope determination blank because it is on scope. I need to fulfill it. And then in terms of how I've addressed that, I have a reference here to my QMS procedure, which you can tell from the PR. And then that should be addressing that requirement. And we'll go into document numbering in another video. That's again, it's a simple thing, but it's a really important part of any quality management system. I also, just a couple of other things I do here, color code it. So green to me means it's complete. So it's just a visual reference that as I've built the system, that it's you know that I've addressed that requirement. We've discussed this, the scope determination, a comment on that if it's out of scope, just a rationale why. When you get your first audits, they'll be asking for the sort of out of scope sections, and you can have the justification here. And then, yeah, finally discuss the QMS reference. Something else that this is really good for is sometimes when you're auditing, you can have a bit of confusion about what the auditor is asking for. If you ask for the auditor to clarify which section of the QMS they're auditing, on those days, it can be a little bit of pressure. Just go to this document and you can scroll down to the section and you can actually, you know, give the auditor the reference of the documents and help them find what they're looking for. Anybody who's gone through an audit will know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's really it. It's a very fast and simple presentation today. If you haven't implemented a QMS before, this is who the video is ultimately designed for. Um, there is a lot to learn, shall we say, but don't let that stop you. You just need to start. And if you do it, this approach gives you a bit of structure to work through it. So, you know, this can get you started. And as you're working through this, spend some time reading and trying to understand the QMS as you fill out that form. This can save you a lot of time in the future, just getting to that point of understanding on how a quality management system works and what, yeah, sort of each of the phrases mean in there. There's a language to building a QMS and it's logical, and you can generally use well-established process to build yours. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you go online, you can find a lot of information which you can just basically copy. There's pre-existing quality management systems you can buy from different providers, which will give you all the forms and the general processes you need, which you can customize. You can work with a company like ours to work with you to implement it or do it for you. So, you know, it's really up to you how you want to do it. I do recommend for people who are new to this to really invest some time learning this, because this will such an important part of a medical device company that you know any sort of senior manager really needs to understand this and lead in their organization. Finally, as we said in the other videos, start doing it, don't stop, don't give up, the two basic foundations for success. So that's it for today. Just a quick one. If you've got any questions, please put them in the comments below and I'll try to answer, or you can contact me via the contact form on the website. Wish you all a good day.